Welcome to July's Block of the Month as we are showing you how to make a cupcake block.
Yes, and we'll be showing you a paper piecing method, which we've done before, to piece one block, and you'll make 8 of these.
And doesn't it look great on our happy birthday quilt? There's always cupcakes at birthday parties. We just wanted to show you that at the very end, after you've had your quilt quilted and you've bound your quilt, the last thing to do is put the cherry on top. So we're not going to show you how to do this today, but this is a fun embellishment to use a bright red button on your quilt.
All right, so first off, you'll want to cut a few pieces to make this block. This piece right here is going to be a 2.5 by 10 inch piece. You'll need one of those. 4 5 by 6s right here. 2 2.5 by 5s. 3 3 by 5s, and of course these will be varied colors. You'll want to make sure you look at the quilt picture to see what colors you use with what.
You're following along with what we're doing.
Yes.
We have lots of colors in this quilt.
And then the top is going to be one piece that's 5 by 9.
All right.
So you'll want to download 2 pieces of templates that we have for you. We'll start with the top of the cupcake, which is this piece right here.
Right here.
You'll want to glue your center piece on the wrong side so that the right side faces out.
And the glue just helps it stabilize, and so it's not shifting around when you're sewing on this block.
So once you get that in place, make sure all your edges are covered. You'll want to fold on number 2.
So this says 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's an outside line of where your fabric should cover. That's going to be your cutting line, and these are like your sewing lines. You can look at the template. I'm going to just fold it over, make sure I've got that right.
And then you want to trim, so leaving a 1/4 inch edge from that line. Then with the right sides together, you'll place this along this edge.
And you've got plenty of space on both sides. You want to make sure that covers.
You're sew from here to here.
And then you just make sure you can flip it up like that.
And we'll cover that whole piece.
It does.
Good.
Okay.
All right, so let's get ready to do the other side.
I think I'll do a quick trim.
Yep, you can trim that up
before we iron it and flip it over. Just have a little extra white.
Now we'll want to do this number 3 by folding that side.
Just kind of repeat what we did on the first side.
Do your 1/4 inch trim. Place this on that edge there with right sides together.
Again, double check.
And then sew along that line.
Okay. Good.
So let me press, oh, you're going to trim first, and then I'll press. And then we'll get ready to put on that final piece at the top. You can finger press these too, but when they're large pieces like that, I think it's better to press them.
Side.
Yep. So let's fold on that line. And then trim.
Sure. Oh, I'm off
the
a little
excess.
bit on this side. Good to check twice, cut once, right?
Yes, always good.
And this works out pretty easy. You just do one piece right after another.
And then we can just put that right on there.
Line that up.
right.
Looks like we don't need to trim on that
Nope.
since we lined it up. So
I'll
give it a
press
good
this,
press.
and then the next thing you're going to do is you are going to trim this on the stitched line. This line that's perforated on the outside is actually the line that we're going to finish cutting this on.
Okay,
So you're
so
going
you
to cut
do
all
this
these
right
edges. Yes.
So again, not on the solid line,
But on the
do it on the little hash marks, the little stitch lines.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're going to have to repeat this.
Yeah, you
So
want to
make
make sure
sure-
you've got a 1/4 inch from your edge where you paper pieced, because this is your 1/4 inch seam. And this will be the top of your cupcake. So once we've done this, we'll set this aside and we'll begin on the bottom of the cupcake. Your blue becomes your green, so we will glue this part right.
Again, it says number 1 right there, so we're going to just put
A little dab in the middle, and we'll just kind of put that right there. Now we want to fold back
to
on
2.
this line, and that's where the yellow is going to go, the same as this block. Fold back, trim 1/4 inch,
There we go.
and then place this with right sides together.
Just right along there. We want to make sure we've got plenty.
Make sure that, yeah, you want to make sure that you're as close to this edge as possible. You don't want to
When I
waste.
flip.
Yeah, it should be plenty big.
Okay.
Okay.
Again. Okay. I think we're ready to go.
All right. So we'll take and press. We can finger press these because they're so little, and then flip them back over. And then we can go to number 3 on this side.
So flip it that way.
Again, we're going to trim 1/4 inch.
Grab that.
And then
See
we're
if I'm
going to
ambidextrous a little bit. Not really.
clever. And then with right sides together, place that piece up there.
Make sure we've got plenty. All right, flip it back over. Sew along here.
So let's press this now that we've got one on each side, and let's get ready to sew our blues next on the outside edge.
And just a reminder on this particular block to extend your stitches all the way down to the cutting line.
This is actually going to be your center seam, so it's nice if we'll cut right here. So let's go to number 4 right here. So you'll fold that line, cut that excess. And then you can put that on, and we're going to sew that number 4 seam. And so what you can do, you can go all the way from this seam all the way down to there, because this outside line is going to be your 1/4 inch seam when we piece these two together.
So make sure you're sewing all the way to the cutting line.
We finger press that one and put this on the other side, and then we'll press those when we're completely
3 to
done.
5.
So number 5.
And we'll hurry and take the edge off.
Trim that, right sides together. And again, we're going to sew.
So really it's like you're doing the same thing over and over.
Yes, you're just folding your paper back on the line that you're going to be sewing on, trimming 1/4 inch, placing right sides together, and then sewing this dotted line on the outside here.
Again, cut on the dotted line, not on the solid line.
Yep, that solid line is your sewing line. And we can square this up at the end. We're actually going to end up with an 8.5 by 8.5 inch unfinished block. Okay, so here we go. We'll want to place our cupcake. Now this is kind of the tricky part, is matching these seams and taking in this 1/4 inch. So what we can do is make sure that we've got both sides here. And I actually like to go shy. I like to bring my stitch up to a 2.5, like a regular stitch.
Okay.
And I like to go shy of this line, just because then I like to check. If I go too deep, then I'll take in excess, which is fine because that cupcake can still sit inside this top area. But I like to be able to make sure those are matched. Take short on here, so don't sew exactly on this line. Go shorter, because you can always take more. Okay. And then we'll trim to 8.5 inches. Yes. Okay, so you can see that the top is centered on this bottom piece. Some of them will match perfectly, some of them will be just in. We've left it so that this is just shy and on the inside, and it still looks really good.
Yeah, looks great.
Okay, so now what we can do is take off all the paper. And because we've used that tiny stitch, it should just slide right off. And then we'll press it. And you can either trim now to your 8.5 inches, or you can wait before when we put it together and show how we do the sashing.
So Gina's done her other blocks. Again, you do 8 different cupcake blocks, and they are so fun to bring to your birthday party.
Yes.
So enjoy July's block of the month.